So my brother and I worked as extras on that show. And I thought, wow, how do you do this? So I started asking questions. And they started telling my mom about how to get an agent and acting classes that we could take, like in Beverly Hills and Hollywood and Santa Monica. I thought, okay. So by asking these questions, I started to take the bus and go into acting schools. So I would go to acting schools that would take me about an hour and a half just to get to Santa Monica. And then once classes were done at night, I would take the bus back into East LA at night. So I'd have my parents freak out and get worried about, where's my son? And I didn't have a cell phone or a pager, so I mean, I couldn't afford it, right? So they would always freak out. And I remember being in the bus, and there I am sitting with my giant Shakespeare book that I was given, by my teacher, and I'm learning. I'm learning either Hamlet or Titus Andronicus, just memorizing the monologues, right? To be or not to be, right? And there'd be a bunch of homeboys in the back, and all of a sudden a big fight would happen, and they'd break the windows, and there'd be a big scuffle, and I remember like just sweating and freaking out, going, okay, what do I do? I mean, I don't want to run out because you don't want to be a part of it, and I don't know if I should stay in the bus or not. And the bus driver wouldn't say anything. You're like, okay, he's just doing his job. He's going, okay, fine. So, but I kept on doing it, and even some of the homeboys would hit me up and go, where you from? I'm like, no, I'm studying being an actor. He's like, you're an actor? You have done any movies? No. You ain't an actor, yo. I'm like, all right, sure. So, but I kept on doing it. I would go to schools like on a Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on a Saturday night. And I think I kept on going to different types of schools and different types of programs, different styles and techniques of acting. Because when you learn acting, there's different branches. It breaks out the different branches. The technique of acting, that's for the actor. Then acting in the business, understanding what a director and producer does. Then the business of Hollywood, understanding how the red carpets work, the magazines, the interviews, and all that stuff with Hollywood. When it comes to the acting part, there's like different styles of acting, right? We know about improv. You guys have learned some of the basics, yes, of acting. So you learn improv, then you learn how to do Shakespeare, right? Scene study. What else? Theater, musicals. And so I started learning that and studying that in different schools. I think at some point I did a show because I got an agent, and when I got an agent, I started doing commercials. When I did commercials, it was kind of cool because I think my first commercial was for Dr. Pepper, and yeah, right. I was all excited because I had told my parents, I'm like, I'm in a commercial. And they're like, great. When are you gonna come out? I'm like, I don't know. So when the actual commercial actually came out, it was about like 30 seconds long, and I was in it for about like half a second. Yeah, yeah. All I did was I opened up a can of soda of Dr. Pepper and I drank it. That's it. Dad was like, "Was that you?" Yeah. I was like, "Wow, you sure?" So, it was great to know the fact that had happened for me, and I thought, "Wow, okay, can I do another commercial?" So slowly, throughout the years, I started doing more commercials. Then I booked a movie. I don't know if you guys remember this. You guys were really, I don't know, like two, called Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal. Oh, yeah. You're like, yeah, Kazam. So, yeah, he played a genie, and I was one of the bullies in the film. So, and I remember telling my dad about that. I'm like, yeah. So, and I had braces then. I was skinny and scrawny, going, hey, give me your money, punk. So, and I'll tell you this, that I remember when I booked the job, I told my dad that I was playing, I'm working on a film with Shaquille O'Neal, and he's a professional athlete. And my dad was like, what, does he play soccer? I'm like, no. Come on, he plays for the Lakers. Huh? Lakers, never mind that. So, but it was great for me because it was my first feature film, and I was working as an actor. I became a union actor, and it started to happen for me. And again, I was still having fun, and I started to do it. So I started to work a lot more in this business. Meanwhile, I started meeting other actors, and a lot of actors were working a lot. I had other actor friends who were always playing homeboy roles in films. So And they were telling me that you don't need to study, you don't need to go to school. I mean, you're working already, so that's good enough. But I didn't want to play one type of role the entire time. I want to play a variety of roles. So I kept on going to school, and I was studying and performing Shakespeare in East LA. I remember I did Romeo and Juliet, Titus Andronicus, Hamlet, right, in East LA. And I remember as we were performing, all we had were like about 5 or 8 people as audience, you know, and they're like your family members who are there to support you. Meanwhile, they're just getting out of a job, and they're so tired, they're like yawning throughout your entire performance. And you think they're yawning because you're boring, and maybe that could have been the fact that, you know. So I was always telling the actors that it didn't matter if we made mistakes or not, because it's our show. We were going up there and we are doing something that we loved, we cared about it. So we did just that. And it's not a bomb, right? Okay. And they were like, well, it is Camden, you know, watch out. So. But I started working a lot more, and I started studying a lot more, and that's when I started working on. I worked on 2 TV shows. One was Shia LaBeouf, who was in Transformers. I don't know if you guys saw Transformers or not. He's the main kid in that. We did a show called Even Stevens. Yeah, yeah, and I played one of the bullies. My character name was Oatmeal. So, you're playing Oatmeal, by all means. Sure.